What made me click? Alright, I had a big turning point that made my voice change. I had a few turning points. Okay, this is kind of a my story video, but it's my story to sort of help you to see how you can create your own story. So what happened with me was I wanted to learn to sing, alright? But in learning to sing, I remember starting off doing guitar. Like I did a bit of singing. I got a singing book and then I got a guitar book. It was something like that, the process. And then I got a piano book. And I remember that what happened was I wanted to be a better singer, but I also liked instruments. And I thought I'll play an instrument so that I can create my own music so I could sing with that sort of thing. Okay? Now, what ended up happening was the book that I bought taught me how to play music, right? It taught me how to play the music that was in the book. Now, what happened was I got good at playing the music that was in that book. There was some classical stuff, some Spanishy stuff, and there was basic chords, and there was some songs that they had in the book. Now, what happened was I got good at doing that. I got good at playing finger picking and classical stuff. But the problem was this had nothing to do with the songs that I was originally intending to want to be able to play. I originally wanted to play Boyz II Men. I wanted to play Craig David. That's what I had in my mind when I bought a guitar. Now the problem was I didn't know how to translate that I want to play Craig David, I want to play Boyz II Men. I didn't know how to translate that into how do I actually play those songs on guitar? Because in my mind, I knew what guitar was. I see people play guitar in a lot of different ways, classical, rock, acoustic, all these different ways. But I didn't really understand what the thing that I was aiming for. I didn't really have a picture of it in my mind. So I needed to kind of find that picture or create it. Now, it was kind of before YouTube, right? I know it's funny, before YouTube. But I was about 20 years old, and there wasn't online, like video online, no way. Like you couldn't watch a video like you're watching me because we had modems. Good luck just loading a picture off a website or downloading an MP3. It used to like crash halfway through. So it wasn't like this, right? I had to find it through a different way, through books or like some type of DVD or something. So books was the way. So I was learning through books. Now, what happened was I found books that had the guitar chords in them. So there was like a book that had, do I have it here? No, it's in the other room. There was like a book that has all the Craig David stuff in it. I'm just going to go grab it. Alright, so here's the book that I'm talking about. Alright, so this book was instead of my Guitar for Dummies book. Well, I'll get that other book too. Alright, so here was my playing the guitar, complete idiots guy. Okay, so what I want to talk about, this is part of my story, right? But it's also part of it created who I am. It created the method that I use to teach singing now, and the method that I use to learn singing myself still. So this versus this. Now, this is kind of like the programs that you buy that have a couple of songs in them, but are mostly technical based. They have exercises and stuff like that. And then they have some, maybe they have some songs that are popular, that they've got licenses of or whatever, and they use them as part of the book. This is an example where you only do the songs. There's no technical stuff, there's no how do you play or whatever. There's only songs, okay? Now, to use this book, you need to have some ability first. So this is where a book like this comes in handy. But when does this book give you what you need and then become a waste of time? That's the tricky part, is you have to learn enough from this kind of book so that you can use this book and then put this book away. You never need it again. Okay? This is where the delicate balance between, people say scales and for voice, people say scales, you need scales because they develop your technical ability. Well, so what I would say is that I use the technique that this book has that tells me how to go up and down, slow and fast, that kind of stuff. Okay? What my options are. And then I use this to use those techniques and options. So then I have what the basics here, the basics of how do you put your finger, how much it hurts, how often you need to do it, ways to make it easier, ways to modify it, that kind of stuff. That's what this book gives me. But then this book gives me the exact thing that I need to go and do every day. Okay? So that's the different things. So when I use this book, what happened was, I'm going to use it as an example where this book had a limit where I was no longer learning what I wanted to learn, and it took me off my goal. It took me off my main focus, which was to play this. That was my main focus, to play these songs on the back of this book. Okay? That was my goal. And I didn't end up touching that goal until at least a year and a half into playing guitar. So I'd learned the stuff in this book, which was like chords, like that kind of stuff, right? Just like learning how to read chord diagrams, which was great. That's what this book was great for. I learned how to read chord diagrams. I learned stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like about the guitar, stuff that is helpful. And then this is where it becomes no longer helpful, where they use example songs. Because I don't care about waltzing Matilda. Like, that's not what I'm trying to play. But if I use this book and I learn waltzing Matilda, that's what I end up getting good at, but that's not what I wanted. So books like this and programs like other people's programs will develop your skill, but you got to figure out what point do I stop using this program and go to the songs that I'm trying to learn. At what point? It's a hard point to figure out. Okay? You need to figure out. So this is just a teacher that's written down their knowledge, and they've decided to teach it this way because they want to standardize. Okay? So it's good to use it up until the point where you feel like it's not particular to what I'm trying to do. But then you might be able to find a balance where it's like, or what I did, which was take the techniques and stuff that's in a book like this, but then applying it to what you are trying to learn. And that's the thing that you got to figure it out, okay? Or you can come to me and I'll show you exactly how to do that for your style, because I've already figured it out when it comes to voice and when it comes to guitar. So you don't waste your time learning stuff you don't need to learn. For example, I was trying to learn so much about writing songs and stuff like that. So here's another book I got. By the way, this is just a couple of books. I got like about 30 books in my storage thing, 30 or 40 books. Okay? This book has like heaps of chord patterns. Okay? So many chord patterns, and teaches you about improvising. But the problem is, when I bought the book, I had something in mind that I wanted to do. I had songs in mind that I wanted to learn. And the book didn't really teach me any of those songs. All I needed to learn was put your fingers like this, it hurts, so just take a rest when it hurts. You're going to need to do it regularly. This is what the diagram looks like, and this is how you can read a diagram, and that's all I needed. Because once I could read the diagrams, then I could read this book, for example, the Craig David book. Then I could read how to play. Exactly, see the chords up there? Not the music notes, not the piano notes, not even talking about that, don't need that. Just the guitar chords. When I could learn to play the guitar chords, then I could learn other things. So once I learned the guitar chords, then I'm on my way to playing the song. And then I had to like figure out how do I play like a finger picking pattern. So I might use the guitar book to teach me a finger picking pattern, like one pattern. And then from there, I can learn how to create my own based on listening to the song and going, what does it feel like? Maybe I can make my own. So technique books will help you, can help you to help learn the songs you want to learn if you twist it in that way. And for you to twist it in that way is hard. I think that was my natural sort of skill, that I could figure that out, that I could analyze in that way. But not everyone can do that. Okay, so my story was I went through the guitar book and then I got to the song books. And when I got to the song books, I never looked at the guitar books again. I got other guitar books along the way trying to get better, but they did not teach me what I was intending to learn. This is generally learning how to play guitar and learning how to play the songs that they choose for you. If those are songs you want to learn, this will be helpful. Okay, it will be helpful. But if it's not the songs you want to learn, you need a different avenue. You need to go buy the actual songs you want to learn, buy the sheet music or the tabs or the guitar chords for those songs, like I did. So then I went and bought Boyz II Men, the Boyz II Men book with that album. Then I bought Tank with that album, those songs. Then I bought Guy Sebastian with that album, his first album. That's an Australian artist for you guys that don't know, but he sings like Tank and Wanya. He's incredible. Okay, so buying those songbooks is what made me the guitarist that I turned into. Okay, the technique book taught me how to read the songbook, but that wasn't what the technique book said. The technique book, I didn't even need the book. It could have literally been one article that I read online, one web tutorial where someone goes, this is how you read a chord diagram and this is how you put your fingers on the strings, and that's it. And then I had a guitar teacher in the high school that I worked at when I was working as a teacher, and he's like, oh, if you want to get better, like you need to practice the rhythms and stuff very slowly, because I was trying to play patterns, but I was playing them too fast, and then I couldn't change chords quick enough. And he's like, he was an experienced player, and he told me you have to slow down like to 1/8 of the speed. 1/8 ends up being like 12% or something, which is extremely slow. At the time, I didn't fully get what he was saying, but then over time, I looked into it and I started to understand it. So those things shaped my guitar playing, okay? So that's a bit of a journey about my guitar playing and how you can get misguided by buying books and then thinking that, oh, I can't learn guitar until I go through this whole book. It's a big book, right? Like, look, oh, I can't play guitar until I can play all the songs in this book. Now, these songs will develop your abilities, but when you're learning these songs, where are your goals gone? What was your reason for buying the book? That's what my point is. What was your reason for buying the singing course that you're buying? You forget because you're so busy going through the program, and the program is something that's probably going to take years to master. That's the thing. They design these programs to be beginner to advanced, so they can cater for everyone, like this book does. It does cater for a wide range of ability. It will take years to master what's in this book. But the problem is that if you spend those years on doing that in that book, you won't necessarily develop the skill to sing the songs and play the songs that you wanted to play. Then you'll need to go and learn them and practice them. Okay? You will develop ability playing the book, but would you rather spend those 3-4 years that it takes to master that book doing the Craig David album? Wouldn't you rather go to a teacher like me and get straight to this? Obviously, there's much more to coming straight to this and starting learning your skills using this as the guide. The problem is this doesn't teach you how to play exactly. It just tells you like the chords and the melodies, but it doesn't actually tell you, you know, how to place your fingers and all that. That's where the teacher comes in. It's better to get the teacher to show you that stuff, or to do like a short little course. Maybe there's an online course, maybe there's a book and you can take part of the book. You know what I mean? Or maybe there's some free web articles or some free web videos that show you how to use your fingers, but they won't tell you your mistakes, which is why it's better to get the teacher, because you progress much faster. Now, I didn't have a teacher, but I had that guy tell me, oh, you're going too fast, slow down to 1/8. That's feedback. Now, I was lucky that I was in that environment and he gave me free advice. He could have just not said anything, but he chose to give me that advice because he's a great guy and he was helpful. Same with other teachers that I worked with when I was teaching guitar. Other teachers came and taught me more advanced stuff. They go, if you want to get better, you got to do this and this and this. They didn't have to tell me. Sometimes I asked them questions and they told me, and they were great. They could have said, go get lessons, but they actually helped me. So they were real teachers that helped me, and I was lucky that I was in that environment. You're on YouTube, you can ask me, I can help you with questions, but there's a point where I need to see you. Those teachers, I met them in person. They saw me, they saw my mistakes, they knew how to fix them, they told me how to fix them. But if you don't have someone telling you what you're doing wrong, it's very hard to know what you got to practice, what you got to work on. It's hard to know what you got to fix because no one is there to see you, to tell you you're doing this wrong. And that's what you really need. That's why I encourage you to get lessons. Okay, back to my story. Well, it is my story that I got helped in guitar, and I got enough help that I could fix my problems and work on them.